contracts were up by over 3/4 cent in early morning trade, providing some strength for canola. Gains in the Canadian dollar kept pressure on prices as it was over 76 US cents this morning. Harvest activity across the Canadian prairies has also limited gains for canola as the harvest is nearing completion. Saskatchewan's harvest is 96% complete, according to the most recent crop report from the province. Provincially, canola is reportedly 92% harvested. The Chicago soy complex was stronger this morning, ahead of this month's supply-demand estimates from the USDA. Pre-report expectations peg soybean yields at 51.6 bushels per acre, compared to last month's estimates of 51.9 bushels per acre. Analysts estimate that the U.S. ending stocks for soybeans will be reported at 369 million bushels versus 460 million in September. The USDA's crop progress report showed the U.S. soybean harvest is almost 40% complete. The November soybean contract is up 14 cents at $10.64 per bushel. December soy oil is up by over 3/4 cent at 33.8 US cents per pound. December soy meal is up 5.20 at 364.70 per hundredweight. Corn futures were stronger on Friday morning. The average trade estimate for corn yields in today's report is pegged at 177.7 bushels per acre, compared to the last USDA estimate of 178.5 bushels per acre. Analysts estimate that the U.S. 2021 ending stocks for corn will be reported at 2.13 billion bushels versus 2.5 billion bushels in September. The December contract is up by 3.5 cents at $3.90 per bushel. Wheat futures are stronger this morning. Analysts expect ending stocks for today's report to be around 887 million bushels versus the August report of 925 million bushels. A private firm has reported French soft wheat is 6% planted as of October 5th. Chicago December is up 3.5 cents at $5.98. Kansas City December is also up 3.5 cents at $5.32. And Minneapolis spring wheat is up 7 cents in the December contract at $5.49. That's a look at the ICE futures and Chicago markets for Friday morning, October 9th. For Markets Farm in Winnipeg, I'm Marlo Glass.
This year's Value Bonanza sales event at Butler Farm Equipment Limited in Fort St. John gives you more ways to save. Choose 0% financing, cash back, and more on select New Holland tractors, hay and forage products, and materials handling equipment. These offers end December 31st, so make the trip to Butler Farm Equipment Limited in Fort St. John today. You get more choices and more savings when you buy during Value Bonanza. For commercial use only, customer participation subject to credit qualification and CNH Industrial Capital Canada Limited approval. Standard terms, conditions, and other restrictions apply. A down payment may be required.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Moose Talks. Later on, we'll be joined by Baptiste Marcere of the North Peace Cultural Centre. We're going to talk about the centre's gradual reopening to groups and what sort of steps they've been taking to keep visitors safe, kind of go through their process a bit. But first, the Indigenous Resource Network was founded last month to provide a platform for Indigenous workers, business owners, and leaders who support Indigenous engagement in the resource sector. So to talk a bit more about what they're all about, we're joined now by Judy Desjarlais, who is one of the advisors to the network. Good morning, Judy. Welcome to Moose Talks.
Good morning.
So I wanted to start with this. Why don't you tell us a bit about what the Indigenous Resource Network is? What's it going to do?
Indigenous Resource Network was established in May of 2020 to provide a platform for Indigenous workers, business owners, and leaders who support Indigenous engagement in the resource sector. We feel the public debate over resource development in Canada has become polarized and divisive. Yet, the majority of people, Indigenous and non, want the same thing: to see environmentally responsible projects that have the consent and involvement of the communities most affected go ahead.
Now, I have to ask, this seems like a timing is kind of the essence, I suppose, in everything. But this one's interesting because, of course, earlier this year, there were blockades around the country kind of in response to what was going on with Wet'suwet'en in kind of northwestern BC. This stigma that Indigenous people are always, or seem to always be, against development projects, this network sort of was created to confound that expectation and that stigma, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it's not all of us. Most of us, like here in the north, I can only speak for the north right now because
Sure.
this is where I'm from. But in my community, we make money, or the funds come in from the resources that are within our territories.
Mm-hmm.
The Treaty 8 bands have resources feeding their communities and their members and the business owners. So we have a vast majority of Indigenous business owners here in the north,
Mm-hmm.
most in heavy equipment, doing pipeline works, being a Indigenous worker that has operating wells and so on. So for myself, like I know I can't speak for the Wet'suwet'en protest, but it's for the Wet'suwet'en to sort out, and it's not my place to make comment about that. But most of us, we all have challenges within within our resource sectors. Some of us have challenges getting on a project,
Mm-hmm.
and then us, want an opportunity. And this is where Indigenous resources are reaching out to the people to hear their stories, to say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it. This is the opportunity I've been given. We want to hear the good stories, because the good stories are the ones that support our purpose here, because we want to be the platform that gets these success stories out there, because there's too much bad news and all about our resource sectors when Canada is built on natural resources. So the federal funding that comes into our communities are not enough to keep our kids educated or to put money back into the infrastructure.
Okay. You've talked about telling stories. Is this then, as you say, in Northeast BC, where there are a lot of success stories of this happening, is this sort of supposed to reach out, say, Canada-wide, to sort of say, also, in addition to telling the story, to say, hey, here's sort of a guidebook for how you and your nation could be like ours, because we've had a lot of success making this happening and finding ways to work with industry and government to make this happen and make money, as you say.
Yes. So on our website, there's stories already generating on there.
Mm-hmm.
And one community elder had spoke up about how the resources within his territory has benefited his community, and how they've advanced to where most of their people are working out there. Most of them are business owners, and the good things that are coming into the communities from the resources.
I see. So I assume then this network was sort of, it was created to fill a void, as you say, to have good stories told. And in this sense, I wanted to know, I mean, governments and resource industries, are they dropping the ball in kind of getting Indigenous people involved in these projects and ensuring they know what's happening? And does this network sort of also try to help to do that, to make that getting people more involved with each other happen?
They're not really dropping the ball. I think we're trying to fill the gap between the worker, the business owner, the producers, and the pipelines, to say, you know what, here's somebody who wanted the opportunity. They're capable of doing this. Here's the story that happened for him being on this, or her being on this project for this many years. And I think the government of Canada needs to recognize that more and more First Nations are getting involved in in all of our resources because in our territories right now, it's built on natural resources, or in all of our communities. So whether it's mining, oil and gas, and they're actually very, very excited about Indigenous Resource Network, because we're going to tell the story of how things are working, and how the communities are benefiting and moving forward.
I want to talk about storytelling again for just a minute. This voice is sort of largely missing from the conversation. Again, it's big news when blockades and things like that go up. This conversation where there are good news stories with Indigenous groups involved with resource development, why do you think that's largely missing? Is it uninteresting to the population, or do you think there's something more heinous at work, perhaps?
Well, not everybody has time to focus on getting the stories out there. For instance, the pipeline project doesn't have, everybody to tell the story of the people. So I think this is where we can tell the story for them, and they can tell it themselves on our website. It's all. I just think that there was not enough focus around. Okay, we want to hear the stories. There wasn't major focus on that end. So, which is why there's no, we all want to tell a story, but who are we going to tell it to? And now there is somebody that's willing to listen and to get their stories out there.
And then on a personal level, Judy, I mean, how did you kind of come to be a part of this? So what made you become an advisor for the Indigenous Resource Network?
The founder, Heather Expernett, and the chair had heard our story numerous times. We've been on media. They've heard one of our stories. They've seen what we're all about here. And they reached out and invited myself, as well as my husband, to be part of the advisory group.
And then they asked you to do this. Why did you think it was such a great idea? Or did you need to be convinced?
I didn't need to be convinced at all. It was a great idea because I believe in my own people. I believe that our people need their stories told, because there's not enough of them out there. And I know there's tons of great stories, especially in my own community here, of success stories of people getting their businesses up and running from zero, and how they're still going today. And I want those stories to be out there, so they're recognized as this great business success.
All right, Judy, if someone's listening right now, they have a story they want to tell that has a good news story about success with resource development. They want to read these stories. They want to make a good story happen in their community. What's the best way to reach out and kind of find out more of these? Is it through the website?
You can visit our website at Indigenous Resource Network, or you can email. I believe it's, yes, all of the information to get your stories and stuff is on our website. The contact information for each one of us is on our website, and you'll see the stories that are already generating on there from the different communities, and that's exactly how your story is going to go in there.
Excellent, Judy. I think it's a wonderful project, and I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us about it today. Thanks for coming on the show, Judy.
Thanks for having me. Happy
Thanksgiving to you, Judy. All right, we'll be right back with Baptiste Marcere right after this on Moose Talks.
During Kubota's Orange Leaf event, get 0% financing for 60 months on the RTV XG. Plus, buy it with a snowblower, blade, or sweeper and get $1,000 off. See your local Kubota dealer for details.
There's nothing better than enjoying fresh produce in the fall. But what makes fresh produce even better? Fresh, local produce. The Fort St. John Farmers Market is open every Saturday until Thanksgiving at the Seniors Building on 100th Street, and they have a huge selection of fresh fruit and veggies and local meat vendors. While you're there, check out all of the crafts from our local vendors and so much more. Support our local farming community every Saturday from 9 until 3. For more, follow the Fort St. John Farmers Market on Facebook.
From the very young to the elderly, quality of life is directly linked to quality of health. At Peace Pharmacy, they are committed to this community, and you can always count on friendly, professional wellness advice. Peace Pharmacy, beside the ABC Medical Clinic on 101st Avenue.
Relax your mind. Deep breaths. Imagine you're driving through a winter storm, gripping the steering wheel gently, like it's a foam pool noodle. The road is slippery, but you feel more confident knowing you have winter tires.
Put the chill back into winter driving with winter tires from Ford Service. Get up to $100 in manufacturer mail-in rebates on select tires. Learn more about our price match promise at Ford.ca.
When you have information about a crime, you may hesitate to come forward. You don't have to. You can still give information without revealing your identity. Crime Stoppers is helping police hunt down criminals by harnessing the power of the electronic age. Go to crimestoppersfsj.ca and click on web tips to submit online. To continue to submit information on that crime, just type in your original optional password, linking your follow-up information to the original info. Crime Stoppers does not trace the origin of any tips on the web or on the phone. Crime Stoppers is a civilian organization helping police to solve crime.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
Welcome back to Moose Talks. Now we're going to talk a bit about the North Peace Cultural Center that's been gradually reopening over the past few months. I think the library was first, daycare came next, and now there's an improv group working in there, and Stage North about to host a show in the North Peace Cultural Center. So to talk about that and the reopening plan, we're joined by Executive Director Baptiste Marcere. Thanks for being on the show, Baptiste.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
To
let you know, I have the grocery syndrome. That as soon as you said I'm on the show, I start coughing.
Oh, of course. All right, Baptiste. Well, first of all, what did you at the center spend this summer doing? Because, as I said, the library, I don't remember exactly when they opened, but it was a few months after things closed down. So what were you doing? What was the board doing all summer? Were you sort of planning what was going to happen if and when you reopened? What did that look like?
Well, since March to June, yes, it was a bit of planning, a bit of fixing what was broken before, and planning on reopening. So we first had June as a first date to reopen, and then things getting on the way. We thought about maybe September, maybe like we pushed things. So yeah, we were always, adjusting, and keep in mind that the information is still the case, but the information were every day new things, every day new legislation. So it's still the same thing. So in June, I think we said, okay, now we can open for the daycare. We have our plan is ready. We know how to deal with that. We have the staff that can clean more often and be present. And we open in July for the summer camp. And yes, the library also open, but we kind of open the building, but not say too much about it, to have not a lot of people in the building right away, because we needed to really check and tune what was the next things. And now October is when we really open, and the library is now in stage 4 of the opening. So within 2 weeks we'll be open 8 to 7 like it was before.
Now you say you were fixing things. Did you have a budget for renovations? Maybe that's going too far, but that you were kind of sitting on and were like, we'll have to make time for this in the summer, that suddenly you were like, well, let's make a lemonade out of lemons, I should say, and you were able to zip through a bunch of projects because you were closed?
Well, really, when in March it hit us and stayed for a long time, like you took it as an opportunity to reset everything and be like, okay, what's the future? What worked before? What didn't work? And yes, we had grant, we had project rolling, ready to go, ready to move. Like we had a communication project, we had an Art Stars project when you bring artists from the outside of the region. And so it was time to say, okay, what are we doing with that? So that's why we're coming strong with workshop. We have a new design in the gallery. We have now a place to sit and to enjoy a little bit of music and of course all the arts that you have in the gallery. So we have workshop like that. We have workshop for kids every day. The Let's Art program that is free will have an improv group for kids. And you said we have an improv group for adults on Tuesday night at 7:30, which is starting to get really good. So we'll have guitar lesson, we'll have a ukulele lesson in the future. So we'll have a bunch of programs like that on workshop. And the big thing that we had to do was to be prepped for the next, I want to say the next 2 years. The next 2 years of not being able to have a lot of people in a building. Even if COVID is kind of done, even if there is a vaccine, I really don't see how they're going to open right away to everybody. Like it will be gradual. So we have the live stream technique. So now we have 4 cameras, 2 4K cameras. We have everything to do a live stream. We have things to do workshop live too. So, and we had that. We had the other school, but it was the summer camp doing a workshop about poetry on the TV. That person was in NIMO, and we did the workshop, and I was surprised how the kids were involved in the workshop. And even if it was a TV, we had the staff around to help, but even if it was a TV, they were like, oh, can I talk? And they wanted to show everything. So that is working, and that's the same for the theater, and the improv group is doing in the theater. We have 50 people in the audience. We can have up to 50 people on scene and backstage. We're also going to live stream. So I heard people saying, oh, yeah, we can do concert. Well, we can.
Wow.
We can, and we have to.
Wow, that's wonderful, Baptiste. I want to go back to that and sort of the safety precautions in just a minute. But first, going back to sort of when, as you say, you were going through the stages of reopening, was that 100% sort of imposed on you by the provincial health officer and orders, or was some of the choice of the board as well? I mean, I guess my question is, how much guidance were you getting on this is what you have to do? And the reason I ask that is because you're sort of a unique building in that there's so many different kinds of user groups that use it all at the same time.
So on the guidance, that was really, really tough because it was changing all the time. WorkSafe BC did a really good job trying to guide businesses, a lot of live stream, a lot of conference call to help business to get, but you said it. We have different activity. We have the retail, we have the daycare, we have the cafe. The cafe is not open, but will open soon, in 2 weeks. We have the theater. We have also the concourse, which is a public place with the washroom. So it was kind of tough, but compiling everything, we made it a plan. So in my background, I was a lab manager in the chemistry department. So I know a thing or two about protecting yourself from like toxic product and things like that. So that also helped me to understand, okay, this is what we have to do. And I think the first protection is your protection. You can enter the building, wear a mask, have your hand sanitizer with you. We have all the signs that say that you have to not come if you have symptoms, couple symptoms, the fever. That's the same. The symptom list is changing, so we try to assess that. We'll have a restriction on number of people. We have all the equipment to sanitize. We even bought new equipment to be more effective and quicker to sanitize things. The library did an awesome job with plexiglass and cover, and they have a really good system. We have the same in the gallery. We have the same. And so putting that together, we keep looking at what we have to do, how we have to do it, but you have to protect yourself. We do everything to make sure that everybody is protected. The only annoyance is you have to give your name, you have to give a phone number or an email address. That's for contact tracing. If something goes bad, we need to be able to tell you, hey, somebody had a symptom or COVID and you need to check yourself. So that's really the only thing that might be bad. But the rest, it's totally possible to do something safe, knowing that COVID is around. We're kind of sparing the region, which is great, but knowing that it's still around. So, for example, the adult improv, we do it with the mask. Is it good? Well, I at one point, I don't even think about the mask, and I'm trying to order transparent masks to keep the facial expression, but that's something we'll have to live with. So I think we're good to do something.
All right, and Baptiste, you touched on this already, kind of going forward, being prepared, as you said, sort of having a plan for the next 2 years to be dealing with this. You started to announce things, but they're not super into the future. Is that kind of how you're going to go with this? Because you don't want to say, hey, we're going to do this thing in March and then have to claw it back because perhaps, things happen to go south. Are you kind of going to go, maybe a month or two ahead at a time with announcing what's going to happen and making plans essentially for events for people to come and attend or be a part of at the center?
Exactly. Well, we cannot have plans more than a couple of months ago ahead. Because, like you said, things can change. We see that the numbers of cases are increasing in the province. Maybe suddenly, they already cut for 10 p.m. for the alcohol. It's not really impacting us, but that's something that happened. You can see in other countries, suddenly they stop the gym, they stop. So even for the presenter and the artist, they are not coming in BC or touring. They're not doing it. Everything is canceled. So we cannot plan in advance. What we can plan is just be ready. Oh, you want to do something? Okay, let's do it. Right now, we're ready until December. We might have a dance competition that will be live streamed in December. We might have the youth choir doing a little concert, mostly for family, but also live stream. So that's all those things that we can predict, or we could predict something safe, like maybe one actor on stage and live stream. That would be really easy. But we don't know. Maybe things will go really better. Maybe things will keep the way. So we're just cruising, like we're on the cruise control right now. We're just going with the flow.
All right, Baptiste, we'll have to leave it there. If you want more information about all the events coming up at the North Peace Cultural Center, including improv on Tuesday nights, come do it with Baptiste and I. You can go to npcc.bc.ca. Baptiste, thanks for taking a minute to chat with us today.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You're very welcome. You too. It's Baptiste Marcere, the Executive Director of the North Peace Cultural Center. We'll be right back to wrap things up here on Moose Talks.
Hey, kiddo, that looks like a big book. You just starting it?
No, I'm not reading it. That couch leg broke again. I'm going to use your trick and prop it up with a book.
You kids don't miss a thing, do you? That's it. Get your coat. We'll go to City Furniture and find a great new couch. Go ahead and put that book away.
Are you sure? Dad's always saying stuff like, if that couch could talk.
Yeah, I think we'll leave the stories to the books.
Buy it today and take it home today. Plus financing to suit you. City Furniture in Dawson Creek and Fort St. John.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the City of Fort St. John has increased garbage collection to weekly on your regular collection day. Recycling will continue as usual. Be aware pickup times may vary due to the extra pickups. Remember to keep your bins at least 3 feet apart and ensure the lids are closed. Learn more at fortstjohn.ca under garbage and recycling. Be a part is being in this together.
If you're looking for hassle-free internet services, call the Peace Region Internet Society today. With coverage throughout most of the Peace, PRIS can get you connected quickly without the hassle of contracts or bundles. Visit PRIS.ca or call 1-800-768-3311 for more information.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
Our thanks again to our guests Judy Desjarlais and Baptiste Marcere for joining us today. Next week, we're hoping to host all three Peace River North candidates to chat about how they want to serve you as MLA. Before then, though, make sure you check out the All Candidates Forum. That's next Wednesday night You can't attend in person, but you can hear it live on Moose FM and watch it live on the Moose FM and energeticcity.ca Facebook pages. All local media will be showing it on their Facebook pages. Now, if you'd like to submit a question to have the moderators ask of the candidates, you may do so until noon on that Wednesday, the day of the forum, over at energeticcity.ca/election. That does it for Moose Talks this week. Adam Rayburn's the studio producer. I'm Dub Craig. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.
Legend says many years ago, pirates would sail the